Welcome to the StockMiner.com studios. I'm your StockMiner, Brian Johnson. We finished flat on the day, but we started down earlier in the morning, only to see a bounce off of this light support I have drawn in down here. Close enough, about 10 points away anyway. And so now we have to, wonder, is that the end of 5? Is it the end of 3? Sitting down here. Anyone's guess at this point. Really hard to tell. Don't know at this point from my perspective either, but it does give me some new levels to watch. I'm still watching this 10,400 level. If you guys are looking to take a little bit of a long in the markets, I would wait till I got up and over this 10,400 level, and then more speculative traders could take a short below 10,250 if you want to be a little bit more aggressive. Otherwise, that 10,200 mark is still probably my next line to start looking at there to get short underneath that level. You'll notice that we didn't hit either one of those today. After the move down, we never got an entry short, and move back up, we never got the entry long. We just kind of wandered sideways all day long. As we kind of wander our way into the beginning of options expiration week, expect volatility. Always do. Always seems to be at least one, if not more, days during this week where you're like, wow, that was just what a ride. A lot of times it does consist of something early in the morning where you'll wake up to a gap one direction or another. And so be watching for that. In the meantime, you may want to drop your position sizes ever so slightly during this week just to be on the safe side. From a daily perspective, too, you can see we did try to dip below that 50-day moving average in the Dow, only to come back to a break-even day. That was about as far as the markets went, putting in a little bit of a doji here. Does that mean anything down here? Well, yeah, I mean, it's a doji in the right spot. Remember, we've talked about this before. It's a doji sitting right here at the right on top of the 50-period moving average. So it's a indecision doji in the right place that will and could mean anyway a potential reversal in the markets, but we won't know anything until tomorrow. So do not go into tomorrow's trading with a bias one way or the other until we get some confirmation on this particular doji candle. Nasdaq on a 60 did drop down as well a little bit this morning, only to have a nice sharp run up. At one point it was up about 12 points, if not more. I remember earlier in the day, only to come back to settle kind of right here at this support line. Look how well that is holding right now. So a little bit of work to do. Do not like necessarily shorting the NASDAQ, but if you like to do that type of stuff, below 1810 or 1800, still my levels to get short on the NASDAQ itself. Start to push our way back up here. We could see some tradable opportunities above 1830-ish or so to the long side there. From the daily, you can see us drop down last week, put in that potential little harami candle here. Then we have another move up today. Looks like there is some buying going on down here right at that 1800 level. See how well that's been holding. We'll continue to see if that holds into the rest of the week. Anything back below 1800 still gives you an opportunity to short. Otherwise, up above you, keep in mind that even though there really isn't a trade available until, I would say, above the 1830 mark, you have at 1845 some pretty good overhead resistance there. I would certainly be cautious if we get back up there on the NDX. From a weekly perspective, too, you can see us holding and starting the week right here below the 50 and below the blue line. Still way, way, way early in the week to be going into the weekly charts, so we'll wait and see what we get, especially on an options expiration week. I'll wait until Thursday, even Friday, to start talking about those charts. SPX on a 60 did drop down as well, putting in a little bit of a move. So once again, is this the end of 3 down here, or is this the end of 5 down here? Still way early to tell. Not really looking at anything until we get above 1085 and ultimately 1090. I'd like to see us get back up into this area a little bit before we start looking at any kind of long trades. More aggressive if you want to get short. 1075, still a good opportunity to maybe look for some sort of a short trade. I love this 1060, 1065 area down here, still do. So if we continue to the downside, that would be some of my lower targets to be watching closely. From a daily, you can see us just slowly grinding our way down. Put in a white candle today, but we did have a touchdown and near this 1070-ish area, getting just below it for a fraction of a second before popping back up. So even though we are kind of moving down here, we're kind of in a stalling pattern at this point, and that's why I'd like to wait and see what we get. If you're going to go long, make sure it gets up and above that 50-day moving average. That's the most important place to be watching. Otherwise, maybe some further push to the downside, right around the 1060, 1065, and then below that, 1050-ish maybe, and or below before we stop. From a weekly, a little early to tell, it's only Monday. VIX on a daily was down ever so slightly today, but the markets were up ever so slightly today, so it really was kind of a break even here. Nothing really to go on except to say that we did have that push up last week, looking for some confirmation by the VIX to give us some fear coming back into the markets. If that happens this week, we will see then some more downward pressure put on the markets. Apple on a 60 was also down a $1.50-ish today. As you can see, it just slowly grinding its way downwards, giving some opportunity here. As you see, this 250-ish area held very well as it gapped down, moved back up, and then moved back down once again to end the day, giving us this on the daily. A little bit of a doji candle down here, below some support right at or around the 250 mark. Apple just can't seem to find its footing quite yet. From a weekly, we are still below that 20, and that is what we will be watching to see if the bulls can get back up and above that area before the end of the week. FAS on a 60 was down just 12 cents today. You can see it was a common theme here. Gap down, move up, move back down. Right back to break even, leaving a lot of the same type of candles on all of the same type of charts. Here you can see us stuck right below this support line. Now notice how we held the support line last week. Today we get the gap down below it. Why? Because that's the best way to beat it, only to come back up and now act as resistance. This is textbook TA, guys, right here. Get that little gap, come back up, retest, hold, and move back down again. But overall, nowhere for the day. Just kind of flat on the day. Watch this area closely to see if it'll continue to hold as overhead resistance. If not, we might see some opportunities up and above $20 and ultimately above $20.50 for your trades to the upside in FAZ, or below $19.25 down here for your trades to the short side. Really, more conservative traders should wait for that break of 19 before trying to get short on FAS. FAZ then putting in a gap up, move down, move back up. Move back down. Very, very choppy in through here, guys. Very, very difficult trading today. If you made some money on it, good for you, but it's very hard to do in this type of an environment, especially when you're seeing this type of motion. We did get above this area. 1550 was my area. Remember that? Yes, so we gap above it, only to come right back down to retest it, get as low as 1530, and then move right back up above it, only to come back and revisit it. So you can see this area here, a big area of contention for the financials, both on a FAS look and the FAZ look, giving us a lot of very ugly trading in through here for the first day. From a daily perspective, putting in another little black doji candle, spinning top if you will, sitting right here suspended in the middle of nowhere. Pushes up above 1550. I still like to the $16 mark, as long as we're not gapping all over the place. And any push above that, maybe back into the 200. Otherwise, wait for a break back below this $15 mark, ultimately below the 50 for your trades short if you're an FAZ player. That'll do it for today, guys. Choppy action. Markets are coiling up, getting ready for another big move. Which way will it be? Only time will tell. Wait for breaks of these levels. Don't get caught in this little sideways chop. Man, it's a good way to blow up your account. Just had a discussion actually today with one of my students who is telling me that he said he tried to trade this right in through here last week, and he said, Brian, that was just worthless. Total waste of my time. I should have went golfing. And he's right. Should have went golfing. These are not good times to be trading. You're just going to get your hand slapped. So make sure you can recognize that. Capital preservation, absolutely key in the markets. And we will be talking to you again tomorrow. Trade safely. Bye.